The cloud is self-service and pay-as-you-go. Anyone in an organization who has access to the cloud can provision cloud resources in seconds and thus can generate cloud cost for the organization. Cloud cost allocation is a FinOps capability to allocate cloud costs to entities in an organization and so to enable accountabilities. The Cloud Cost Allocation Python package, which is available as open source in GitHub, performs a shared hierarchical cloud cost allocation based on user-defined usage metrics. This video explains the concept behind this open source code. It also shows an illustrative example and sample Power BI reports. Some large organizations use a community model to optimize their costs. Shared services are developed and run in the cloud. A shared platform service can be, for example, a container platform like an OpenShift cluster. This means such an OpenShift cluster hosts multiple services, which can be either other platform services like a monitoring service or application services like a web service. A shared application service can be, for example, a user authentication service or an inventory service. Finally, business application services, which are customer entry points, may serve themselves different commercial products. Consequently, a single cloud resource, like a virtual machine, may host different services and products. Such a shared hierarchical cloud consumption is not supported by mainstream, native, or vendor cloud cost management tools. As an illustration, here is an academic example where a product named B2B is implemented by a reporting application and a product named B2C is implemented by a web application. The reporting application and the web application call a shared inventory application. All applications use shared container and monitoring platforms. The monitoring platform runs on the container platform, and it also uses some resources directly in Azure Cloud. The container platform runs directly on Azure Cloud. Some guiding principles have been retained to define the cost allocation model. Most importantly, cloud costs need to be connected to the value delivered by the cloud workload, because the success of a company in the cloud is not about minimizing cloud costs, but about linking growing cloud costs to growing business value. The value delivered by the cloud workload needs to be measured with some functional metrics to be able to calculate and to track cloud unit cost for the value. To keep things simple, only one or a very few number of metrics should be defined to measure the value delivered by the cloud workload. That's why we commonly call them FinOps North Star metrics, shortly FinOps NSMs. This concept may sound sophisticated, but it is actually very simple and pragmatic. Let me take a practical example. I go shopping in the supermarket every week. I spend sometimes 200 euros, sometimes 150 euros. So the cost varies over time. As you can see on this graph, where the x-axis represents weeks and the y-axis represents the cost. For example, the cost is generally low during school weeks and it's high during holidays, typically the Christmas week. What's the value delivered by my shopping at the supermarket? It's essentially food, indeed. How can I measure the food? I can measure the food essentially with the number of meals. This means simply the number of meals is my North Star metric for supermarket shopping. The number of meals is represented on this graph with the blue bars. The blue line represents the meal unit cost computed by the cost of the supermarket shopping divided by the number of meals. I've set myself a target meal unit cost, which is the orange line. During holiday weeks, I buy more meals, so it's expected that the cost of the supermarket goes higher, still I should stick to my target unit cost. During Christmas, I buy luxury food. Thus, an increase of the unit cost of meal is expected and accepted as it appears in the week 01 and 52 in this visual. The second principle is about allocating the cost from providers to consumers. For example, a container platform has a cloud cost, but it has no own purpose. It's used by the service running on it. Thus, the cloud cost of the container platform must be allocated to its consumer services. Likewise, a business application service has no own purpose, but serves commercial products. Thus, the cloud cost of business application services must be allocated to commercial products. This means that the costs are allocated in a bottom-up fashion through the consumption hierarchy from cloud to products, which achieves the connection from cloud cost to business value. Last, the cost allocation from a provider to a consumer should not be arbitrary, but based on consumer usage, because the consumer should be able to optimize its cost by optimizing its usage. How is measured the usage of a provider service? As previously said, the value delivered by a service is metered with the FinOps NSM. So this FinOps NSM should be used to meter the service usage by its consumer and to allocate the service cost to its consumers. Based on the principles just explained, let's check how the cost allocation model works with FinOps NSMs in the illustrative example. Remember that cost allocation works bottom-up from cloud to products. First, Azure costs are allocated to the container and monitoring services based on tags. The cost of the container platform grows with the number of CPUs, so its cost is allocated to the services running on it based on their CPU consumption. The monitoring platform enables the monitoring of time series. The more time series, the more cost. Thus, the cost of the monitoring platform is allocated to its consumers based on their monitored time series. The inventory applications stores items that are used by the reporting and web applications. Thus, the reporting and web applications will get allocated the cost of the inventory application based on their item usage. The cost of reporting grows with the number of reports. The cost of web grows with the number of queries. Finally, the value of the B2B product is measured with the number of users. The value of the B2C product is measured with the number of payments made. We can see there are two categories of NSMs. The NSMs of the platform and application services measure a technical footprint or activity. That's why they are commonly called technical NSMs. Technical NSMs are defined and tracked by engineering teams for cost efficiency purposes. On the other hand, the NSMs of the product measure business volumes. That's why they are commonly called business NSMs. Business NSMs are defined and used by business units to take business decisions. Let's now have a look at the cost allocation model. Remember that cloud cost allocation is bottom-up from cloud to products through the service consumption hierarchy. First, cloud costs are allocated to the services running directly on the cloud based on tags. Obviously, the service tag identifies a service. Moreover, an instance tag is used to differentiate the different instances of a service corresponding to different environments or to different regions. Additional cost allocation dimensions can be defined based on custom dimension tags. To enable the cost allocation between services and from services to products, every service needs to provide so-called cost allocation keys. Cost allocation keys are used to split and to reallocate the cost from a provider service on the one hand to consumer services, on the other hand, to products and to their NSMs if the provider service is an application. A key point is that the cost allocation keys must reflect the NSM quantities provided to the consumers. In the basic and most common case where the provider service has a single NSM, the NSM quantity and the cost allocation key are the same. A more complex case is, for example, a container service with an NSM to measure the compute capacity, which is composed of CPU and of memory. This NSM is multidimensional as it is a combination of a CPU metric and of a memory metric. In this case, the cost allocation key must be calculated from the different metrics in a fair way to split the cost. You can notice that the name of the column containing the NSM quantity that is consumed from the provider service is named provider meter value. This column name may look cumbersome at first sight, but this column is semantically more than a simple quantity. This column meters the value of the provider service, which is highlighted in the column name. In the same way, the column containing the product NSM quantity is named product meter value. Last, it's important to note that the cost allocation is per service instance. This means that the NSM and consumer information are provided by service instance. Thus, the NSM unit costs can be calculated and tracked by service instance. Moreover, every consumer can view the instances of the provider service that it uses, as well as the associated unit costs. Maybe you find that the explanation of the cost allocation model was too cryptic. But don't worry, no one can explain clearly how to ride a bike, but everyone is actually able to practice and to get to it. So let's practice on the illustrative example. Let's assume, for example, that the cost of Azure is 13 euros for a given day. And let's see how these 13 euros are allocated to platforms, services, and products. Remember that cloud cost allocation is bottom-up. First, cloud costs are allocated to the services that use cloud resources based on tags. Then, costs are allocated between services thanks to cost allocation keys. Last, costs are allocated from application services to products, also thanks to cost allocation keys. Let's start. Azure costs are allocated to the container service and to the monitoring service based on the service tag. Let's say that the usage of the Azure resources that are tagged with the container service cost 12 euros, and that the usage of the Azure resources that are tagged with the monitoring service cost 1 euro. The container service consumes nothing else than Azure, so the container cost is final and it's 12 euros. Let's reallocate these 12 euros to the consumer of the container service. Remember that the NSM of the container service is the number of CPUs. Let's assume that the monitoring and reporting services use 4 CPUs each, and that the inventory service and the web service use 8 CPUs each. Using a rule of thumb, the monitoring and reporting services are allocated each 2 euros, and the inventory and web services are allocated each 4 euros. The cost of the monitoring service is now final. It's 3 euros. Let's allocate these 3 euros. The same logic applies here, with the NSM of monitoring being the number of time series. For simplicity, let's assume that inventory, reporting, and web consume each the same number of time series. Consequently, the monitoring costs are reallocated equally between inventory, reporting, and web. The cost of inventory is now complete. It's 5 euros. Now, let's move to the application cost reallocation. First, remember that the NSM of inventory is the number of items. Let's assume that inventory has delivered 500 items, that reporting has consumed 20% of them, and that web has consumed 80% of them. The cost allocation of inventory follows the same repartition. Now we know the cost of all applications. Reporting, which is a business application, costs 4 euros. Web, which is also a business application, costs 9 euros. Note that the sum of the cost of business applications, reporting and web, is 13 euros, and it matches the Azure cost. It's time to reallocate the application cost to the products. Please bear with me, it's the most interesting part. Inventory was called by reporting in the context of the B2B product. Thus, inventory allocates to B2B the same amount, which is 1 euro. In the same way, inventory was called by web in the context of the B2C product. Thus, inventory allocates to B2C the same amount, which is 4 euros. Now, let's reallocate the cost of reporting to the B2B product. 1 euro coming from inventory has already been allocated. Thus, reporting allocates only the remaining part coming from its platform consumption, which is 3 euros. The reporting application also signals that 45 users have been supported for the B2B product. Likewise, Web reallocates its platform cost to B2C without double counting the cost coming from inventory. This is 9 euros minus 4 euros, which is 5 euros. The web application also signals that 120 payments have been supported for the B2C product. The cost allocation up to products is now complete. B2B costs 4 euros and B2C costs 9 euros. Note that the sum of the costs of products, B2B and B2C, is 13 euros and it matches the Azure cost. We are done with the cost allocation practice. Congratulations! The result of the cost allocation is stored in a table which can be exploited and which is called the allocated costs. This table is simply the union of the costs that are allocated directly from the cloud based on tags and of the costs calculated from the cost allocation keys. The allocated cost table contains two cost columns which appear on the right-hand side. The cost allocated to the services in blue and the cost allocated to the product in purple. Note that only the lines whose provider service is an application, like the web application, contain a product cost. The product cost is a portion of the application cost that is allocated from platform services, knowing that the application cost coming from the called application is already allocated to product by the latter. The table can be filtered by service to see the service cost that is allocated either directly from Azure or directly from provider services. For example, you can see here that monitoring has 1 euro allocated directly from Azure and 2 euros allocated indirectly from the container platform. Conversely, the table can be filtered by provider service to see the cost allocated to consumer services. For example, you can see that the container service cost is allocated to monitoring, inventory, web, and reporting. The table can also be filtered by cloud provider to see the services consuming directly the cloud. For example, you can see here that the Azure cost is allocated to the container and monitoring services. The table contains also the technical NSMs and the business NSMs, so it can be used to calculate the NSM unit costs. For the technical NSMs, you can see here that the container platform provides 24 CPUs for a cost of 12 euros. So the unit cost of a CPU is 12 euros divided by 24, which is 0.5 euros. Concerning business NSMs, you can see here that the B2B product has 45 users and costs 9 euros. So the unit cost of a user is 9 euros divided by 45, which is 0.2 euros. These two tables present the NSM unit costs, which have been calculated from the allocated cost table simply by dividing the costs by the NSM values. Note that applications have both service NSM unit costs, which are calculated from service cost, and product NSM unit costs, which are calculated from product cost. The product NSM unit cost of an application is a portion of the service unit cost coming from platform services, which impacts the unit cost of the product, and which the application can influence the most by optimizing its usage of the platform services. To conclude on the conceptual part, note that there is a bottom-up dependency between the NSM unit costs, which is related to the consumption hierarchy. Obviously, if the unit cost of a CPU increases, it will impact the unit cost of users and payments. To support the business with predictable and efficient cloud costs, engineering should be committed to monitor NSM unit costs and to manage potential deviations from defined targets. Now, let's have a look at a few sample reports in Power BI where the table of allocated costs has been loaded. The Sankey visual used here shows how costs are allocated from the cloud to services, then from provider services to consumer services, and last to products. We have created a few scenarios in which one can witness cloud cost increases. The area chart at the top of the report shows how product costs evolve over time in the different scenarios. Obviously, we would like to know the reason of the cost increase for each scenario. The area chart at the bottom of the report displays the cost by product, B2B and B2C, over time. The blue scenario is the baseline. The costs are flat. In the second dark blue scenario, cloud costs increase steadily over time. In the bottom area chart, we can see that the increase of costs comes from the B2B product. So let's have a look at it. The visual at the bottom of the report shows the evolution over time of the number of users as bars and the cost of a single user as a line. In this scenario, we can see that the unit cost of a user is constant. This means that the increase of cloud costs just reflects the increase of the business volume. From a cost efficiency perspective, it's fine. Now, let's look at the third purple scenario. Looking at the bottom visual, we can see that the user unit cost, which is represented by the blue line, has increased, while the number of users, which is represented by the bars, is constant. This explains the global cost increase. The area chart at the middle of the report shows the cost evolution over time of the B2B product by application. We can see the inventory product cost is constant, whereas the reporting product cost is increasing. Let's have a look at the unit cost of the reporting application. The bottom visual shows the evolution over time of the number of reports as bars and the report unit cost as a line. While the number of reports is constant over time in this purple scenario, the report unit cost increases suddenly. This explains the global cost increase. Let's drill down to understand why the cost of reporting increases suddenly. The area chart at the bottom of this report shows the cost evolution over time of the reporting service by provider. We can see clearly that the cost coming from the container platform is increasing, while the cost coming from monitoring and inventory is constant. This container cost increase denotes a change in the application container footprint, which can be, for example, due to provisioning or resiliency, or to support a new feature. The last scenario, in pink, shows a cost increase for both the B2B and the B2C products. In this scenario, looking at the bars in the bottom area charts, which represent the number of payments and the number of users, we can see that both B2B and B2C products have stable business volumes. However, there is an increase of both user and payment unit costs, which are represented by the blue lines. Looking at the monitoring unit cost report, we can see that the cost increase is caused by the unit cost increase of a time series, while the number of time series is constant over time. The time series unit cost increase should be investigated further by the monitoring team. This last scenario shows that a cloud cost increase may be caused by a platform unit cost increase, and it can be spotted by monitoring the platform unit costs. As a recap, we have shown with an illustrative example that the presented cloud cost allocation model makes it possible not only to connect the cloud cost to the delivered value based on user-defined usage metrics, but also to investigate and to drill down the root causes of potential cloud cost variations. Thanks for watching.